Hello, 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 and welcome to Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. I'm your host, Rainbow Raaja, and I have a super, super, super special guest for you guys today. I have Nalini, and she is a light language artist and sound therapist, and she does a bunch of awesome cacao ceremonies. And I'll just let her introduce herself. Welcome, welcome.
I like how you went sound therapist. Yeah. I use sound. I definitely use sound, a light language transmission. And to me, that creates space and it shifts frequency for
Oop,
people in the space and for me as well. Um,
you had
yeah,
a little bit of a hiccup there, so
that's probably my internet. Can I keep going?
it's yeah. Go ahead. I can
Okay,
always
cool.
edit.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm a conduit. I prefer that term because it covers kind of everything that I do. A painter and I channel what I paint as well. And I channel through, like you said, sound and like language. And cacao ceremony is a very it's like a shamanic work. And I combine cacao with drums, instruments, sound, and light language as well. So that's pretty much what I do. Yeah.
Awesome. So what brought you to this journey of, I mean, you're pretty far down your path here to be able to channel not just the visual light language and the visual art of spirit, but to be able to channel your guides through like vocally and to feel confident in that. Like what brought you to this point, and what, when did it start and how did it start? Love to know.
Um, For painting, I always loved to paint. I always was one of the child who just liked to doodle in her book. So painting and art always being that lifeline for me. And throughout, well, eating disorders, depression, suicidal kind of kicked in when I was 18, 19. And it lasted for around a decade. And I went to psychologists when they prescribed me Prozac, Zoloft, this and that. And I never really stuck to it because I didn't like the vibe that I was on, and I didn't have any explanation or any spiritual term to describe what was going on. So I was just in a really dark, confusing place. And one time I was standing on the window frame on the 22nd floor, and I was about to jump. I was just like, ah, oh. Sorry, I'm giving you extra editing work.
Oh, it's totally fine. This is great. I'll put this unedited version on YouTube, right?
So I was like, yeah, no, I had enough. And I was about just to let go. But I was scared as well, no? Just being that high. And then I felt a bit of a pull on my sleeve, and there was no
Mm-mm.
one there. So I stepped back and I sat, and I'm like, okay, there's something there. And I have always been that child who has vivid dream, who can sense things in the space, in the house. But I've never really taken any further because I've been taught that, nah, you're just making it up. It's just imagination, that kind of thing. And I just had no other choice than keep life going. And one day I just realized that I'm just doing all this to myself. And I started to accept the people around me, and most of all is a path of accepting myself, and I'm still on that self-love process, just never end. And it's just part of the peeling those layers as you move along the journey. um, I started to meditate because I got bored with painting portraits, and I wanted to meditate because to expand my creativity and imagination. And then spirit guide came, people beginning to come into my life and talked about angels and cards and meditation and channeling. And then I encountered a few people on YouTube that was channeling light language, and it just inspired that curiosity within me. I'm like, yo, how did they do that? This and that. And at the same time, I was starting to pick up crystals and starting to kind of talk to crystals. So the crystal kingdom really helped me in tuning into the energy and verbalize it out. But things, and I started to combine the visual of my guides with my art slowly and slowly. But I have to give my credit to Amazon journey in 2017 when we were there volunteering, and then also plant medicine journeys that really open up a lot of deeper understanding, humbleness, and groundedness, which I was missing since childhood. I felt that I didn't belong. But plant, for some reason, remind me that, hey, there's a place for you here. There's a place for you here. And I didn't quite understand then. And then cacao came to me in 2019. And the first time I drank her ceremonial grade cacao, first time I drank her, I went inside and I released a lot of sadness, because she assists in cleansing the heart and opening the heart. And I saw myself offering cacao to others. So that's the point when I started to combine channeling, what I've learned from Amazon, as well as my passion and curiosity about shamanism, into ceremony and using cacao. So this is where I am now, and I'm still in the process of healing my body. I'm still in the process of self-transformation. Still in the process of empowering my thoughts, empowering myself. So, I'm a student at the same time.
Aren't we all? I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a humble place to be. I can't tell you how many people I've come across that they get to a certain point and they're like, well, now I'm done. I've learned all I've needed to learn. And it's so great to see a master like yourself, because you really, like, as humble as you are, you are very advanced, and I recognize that. I hope anyone who does listen, like, recognizes what a gift you are, and that you're doing this so freely all the time. And I mean, you really are just a force in this world of good and love. It's so beautiful. And like, I know you created the oracle deck that you created out of light language and out of your transmissions that you've been receiving, this beautiful, beautiful art that you've been doing.
Yeah.
You assimilated it into a deck, correct? So how are those, they're very different than what I've seen other oracle decks. How do those work? Because I really just kind of want to explore that here with the listeners.
So I was painting a lot when I was an art teacher before we went into Amazon. And my husband also was painting at the time, so now he doesn't paint as much. So I was like, okay, let's combine all the painting that I've painted into a deck, and I was inspired by other people. And I'm like, oh my god, it's such a nice idea. So I printed samples out and took with me on my journey into Amazon, and I started writing the messages. So it is a collection of from fairy spirit to giant. My husband painted that, to a Syrian dude, to feline. And I name it Torch of Ascension, although I don't really use shamanry. Although I don't really use the word ascension much anymore, but I wanted this deck to reflect that, you are your own torch of ascension. Make yourself your own light.
Yes.
It's in here, and know that this is just a reflection, a tool that can remind you, that a mirror. So that was my intention of the deck.
That's a beautiful intention, because I mean, the journey of ascension and the journey of rediscovering yourself, because that's really what it is it's rediscovering who you are underneath all of your inhibitions and your fears and all those self-limiting beliefs that you put on yourself to be accepted and to not have conflict with others. And I think one of the most difficult parts of my journey has been, I had a similar beginning to my ascension as you did. I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 when I was 10. I was put on a bunch of medications up into my early 20s. I was very suicidal up and down. This is the first time I'm sharing this publicly, so I'm a little scared, to be honest. But um, I was on a lot of medications from the time I was 10 onward, and it wasn't bipolar. I've actually gone into UCLA. They've done my my EKG. They checked everything. They were like, "Yeah, you don't. How did you cure your bipolar? Because you used to have it." And all I'd been doing was Reiki and all these shamanic journeys and like working on myself and doing this energy healing on myself. And so I know how much this stuff shifts your actual biology. And I know that you've been doing light language for some time, and some of the transmissions you've been receiving is about that, is about shifting our physical body. And have your guides ever kind of disclosed how that works, and you know how that
My
supports
guys are
our
my guys are very quiet. They make it clear that they're not here to interfere. They're just here to help, and they don't really let me know all the recipe. They kind of let me discover it myself. To me,
right.
the mechanics of light language, to simplify it, is simply you sing the energy, you transmit energy in forms of hand sign, in forms of drawing codes, or in form of sound. So it's a very primordial thing. It's a very primal thing within us. It's like bird singing.
Mm, like
It's
the
like,
canary, yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh, you feel this and then you express it. And that's something that's been absent in school, in education system, something that's been labeled as crazy, as mad, as,
Mm,
okay, speaking in tongues in some religion. But yeah, I feel that it's just something that's within us that, honestly, I feel that we can communicate telepathically without sound, and the vocal cord is also meant for something else, something a lot higher, something a lot more multidimensional,
mm,
something that holds magic, that we know that sounds hold power, but we just being programmed to use our voice in a very rigid linguistic ways. And it's
yeah.
fine, that's why we add, that's fine. But then we are now realizing that who we are is instrument, whether you're into movement, whether you're
Mm,
into a massage, or whether you're into singing or whatever, you are an instrument.
yeah. I totally see that. So did you start with drawing and writing light language, or did it start with the singing and the vocalization? Because it seems like there really is so many multitudes of ways of expressing light language now. I'm seeing dancers, I'm seeing signers, I'm seeing singers and speakers, and just writing and art. There's so much now. And I know I discovered light language. Literally, somebody did it on me, and I suddenly could do it. I didn't know there was other people. I had no clue. One day I went on YouTube and I was like, I wonder if other people can do this. And she had called it light language, so I looked it up. And there was people speaking the same dialect as me. I was like, oh my god, there's other people. Just like, whoa! It totally blew my mind. So like, it's kind of neat. You started with a reference point and entered this. So what came first, the chicken or the
um
egg?
oh, doesn't matter. Why can't it be at the same time, chicken and egg? um
It totally can. It totally can.
yeah. For
So the
me,
art and the singing came.
well, I insecurity is a theme that I'm transforming. It gets more
Mm,
familiar. It gets more easier at the more that I build self-awareness towards my shadow, towards the inner demon, towards the inner naughtiness. Just be mindful of them. But
yeah.
before, I was very shy, and I thought I couldn't sing, which is silly because we've been taught to compare the act of singing to professional singers. You know, who
Mm-hmm.
can sing pop song, who can be on a stage. But no, we all can sing. We have our own voice. It's just that judgment that we be programmed. So I started to write down like syllables, karaoke kind of style,
Mm.
and then I would read it out. And not long after, I realized that I don't need to do that. I can just start allowing it to come out.
You paused. You've been frozen.
More
You've been
natural and
frozen. Oh no, you froze. Oh wait. Okay. So we last
can you
heard.
hear me?
Yeah, just start that thought over. I'm so sorry. It totally froze completely. We missed all of
No, it's
that.
okay. It's okay. It's honestly, it's internet in Bangkok,
Mm.
and we quite far apart. So anyway, um, yeah, I used to write down the syllables because I was shy and I didn't quite believe that I could sing.
Mm.
And it's just because we've been programmed to compare the act of singing with professional singers and this and that. So I started by writing syllables, karaoke style, and I would read it out. And then not long after, I realized that I didn't need that. I can just allow it to come out, whether it's good or bad according to my mind. Just let it out. And then more and more, it became natural. More and more, it became just this is who I am. You know, I sing to the trees, I sing to the sun, I sing when I host ceremony. It's just felt like okay, it's needed and it comes out and then that's it.
I I think we have a very similar origin story because I was my parents always told me they were like, "Oh, who's singing this? The Beatles? Well, leave it to them, why don't you?" And I was like, "Okay, so sorry." Jeez, am I that bad? And that went through my life because I have a very deep register for a female. So even when I tried out for choir, hoping to learn to sing because I like singing, I used to sing like my own tunes that would be rhyming and sound like a real song, but they were just made up on the spot, and I just did it all the time. And yeah, even in show choir, they're like, put her to the back kind of thing. Um, I was always the loudest one, so that was really hard to put me in the back because I had this deep voice and I would be singing very loud, and people were like, "That blonde one, just can we put like a muzzle on her?" But yeah, I can see where being super shy and like needing to write it out because for me it was I was afraid to speak light language because I was afraid people would immediately go, "You're crazy again," which is a huge trigger for me, like being told that I'm bipolar or mentally ill again. Like that was the worst time in my life. I spent a lot of time in hospitals and trying to not, not live because it was that not fun. Um and you lose a lot of your soul
Yeah.
living in those pill states because you're not here. It's like the pill bops your spirit out of your body. I don't know how to describe it, but that's is I wasn't here. I wasn't in my body. And I know light language was one of my hardest um, spirit tools to actually own. And I'm like now kind of going full force with it because it really helped me, and I feel like it can help so many other people, and by like living my truth and singing my truth. And you were a huge inspiration for me. And when I saw you on your YouTubes like standing in front of a lion pit singing at the lions, you're like, "I am Lyran. I am going to sing light language with these lions," and they were into it. I was like, if this woman can be so brave as to stand in public and do this, I have to grow a pair and try it myself because I mean, you know.
First of all, I'm very amazed that your voice can go so deep because I really admire my husband's voice, how he can go really deep naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I can, and with that that lion light language, I was standing in between enclosure of the tiger. There's tigers behind me and the
Mm.
lion in front of me. And I was just singing and I just wanted the lion to pay attention. And then he looked at me and I noticed as I was singing, he was looking past me and I could feel the tiger presence behind me. And I'm like, okay, let me just end this now. I don't want to be in the middle of the little
That's so
vibe going
funny.
on here.
Well, it seemed like such a powerful moment. Like I watched your, I don't know how long ago these were, but I remember watching you go to the ocean and sing, and like it was just beautiful watching you travel and find these spots that called to you, and you would just, you, no matter who was around, no matter what you were doing. And you do strike me as more of somebody who would be like reserved and timid in that way. So like when I saw you doing it, I was like, I really have no excuse why I can't do this too. And so I started doing it for my clients. Like I was literally inspired by your courage. I was like, you did a session on me and it was so, like, I'm intuitive. I do a lot of these things where I just let go and I just go with the flow. And that's really what your session was. It was like encrypted in a way, because the first two times listening to it, it almost seemed to have no flow, but there was a flow. And listening later, there was so much there that I missed the first two times, or maybe it was, it changed. I don't know, but it wasn't there the first two times. It's just really beautiful how really in flow with the universal life force, or whatever that force that allows us to connect with the song of the universe, like whatever that is, you are so in tune with it.
Oh, it's who I am, and I'm sure you resonate. It make us look back to those chapter of struggle, whether it's bipolar, depression, suicidal, eating disorders, whatever, and makes you look back. It's like, yeah, I wasn't living me. That's it.
Mm.
It wasn't the world going against me, but I wasn't being me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to fit somebody else's box.
Yeah, I don't know what box to fit in, honestly.
I wasn't fitting anywhere. I mean, I know cats, if I fits, I sits. I thought I was a cat at the time. Their boxes were like, nothing was fitting. And then finally I stopped taking their pills and I fit in a lot more places than I thought was possible. And I'm not discouraging people from mental health, because it's very important. But I know that once I had done Reiki and I started to see massive changes in my life, I'd learned how to utilize this Japanese, state of being. And it changed. It changed everything. It changed how I was reactive to other people. It changed how I interpreted my own triggers. I became very reflective. When a trigger happened, I had time I didn't realize was there before, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like there was a beat where I could actually, instead of blowing up or crying or feeling the need to run away, I had this moment where I could turn within and work on myself. So besides light language and obviously singing and art, are there any other tools that you have? I mean, you also use ceremony, South American ceremonies. Are those your main go-to toolkit items?
That's it, eh? What you mentioned is pretty much what I do. Ceremony, it's a permission slip for me to connect with people in person, because there's a sense of shyness within me, and there's a sense of how do I navigate in the energy of Bangkok, and that's why I feel that cacao comes to me as, okay, here, use me, share me, and here you can slowly get comfortable with sharing yourself and sharing your light language to others, because again, light language here is still very new. I have met quite a few people come and talked about it, but it's not as popular as in the Western world. And Ceremonies also, I feel, is important for big cities. It's just something that is long forgotten, something that's been labeled as bad, as scary. But when we share it in a ceremonial setting, we tend to share from the heart. And the energy in Bangkok is very much in the head. So to me, ceremony is a powerful tool to meet people in person and to assist on a higher level into the lower realm and integrate. But yeah, what we spoke is pretty much what I do. I don't think I have anything else in my pocket. Oh, meow!
Yes.
Meow! Meow, meow!
Every time I'm doing work, anytime I'm doing podcasting, a healing session. Oh, she's here. She's here. Today I was doing a meditation for a class, and of course she comes up and immediately starts and then she's like purring right into the microphone. I'm like, oh, sweetheart.
Oh.
Like, please ignore the cat sounds.
I heard the bell and I'm like, am I going over time? And then I saw the tail. I'm like, okay, it's a cat.
It is a cat. It is.
Meow.
She
can't
has.
Hear me.
Oh no, but I'm sure she can.
Kiss, 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 kiss.
Yeah. She's. Yeah, she.
Aww.
This is my soulmate.
Oh. This is what left of my soulmate. He passed away in 2019. It's a good reminder of him.
Aww. You have a lot of cat and like they're Lyran, right? Lyran guides and art and like it always seems like when I'm looking at your art and when I'm kind of like tuning into your shows and your programs, because you have so many. You're everywhere nowadays. It seems like you remember either your past lives or your times as a Lyran. Is that true?
Yeah, Lyran has been a dominant energy for me, and it's also reflecting upon what I need to work on as well, like arrogance, like shifting into natural humbleness. These are the lessons of the Lyrans, and also blue feline Syrian do come, and I feel that there's white tigers of Andromeda as well. So I really feel that the Lyran do kind of go around and mix and share, and that's one of their purpose, and that's also one of my lesson, because as they explore and go around, they utilize this extreme masculine principle, externalizing force. And this is my current lesson as well, because am I working too hard? Am I pushing myself too much? I always need to be mindful of adding more me time, adding more rest into my schedule.
Yeah.
And telling myself that I don't need to prove to anyone, I don't need to save the world, just be in my space more and more and more. So that's the lesson kind of shared within my kind of Lyran etheric DNAs.
Man, I need that lesson. I am such a workaholic. I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm worthy and
be mindful.
Oh yeah, I burn myself out so much.
Yeah. Be mindful, because last year I was diagnosed with autoimmune, but then just last night I had this realization, which was reflected by a good friend. He said, you know that all is mental. And I'm like, yeah. So there you go, work on that, focus on that you are healed, that you don't need that autoimmune label anymore, that you can change your lifestyle accordingly. So this is where I'm heading at, and perhaps changing my lifestyle is also meaning balance, rest, balance, self-nurturing as
yes. Well. Those are very important. The temperance of knowing exactly how much is just enough, right? Making sure your body is getting enough water and rest and nutrition. I know
Yeah.
it's pretty hard over here in the Western world because we're encouraged to work ourselves to the bone.
Oh, same
Um,
here. Same
okay.
here. Yeah, I feel that even the Asians work harder. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I guess. I'm
I
so
don't know.
sorry.
No, 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 no. Not comparing, but I feel that in school we have a lot more academic pressure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely in Asia, just like calculator, being doctor, being an engineer, that heavy academic competitive nature instilled within Asian culture.
I had a couple Asian friends whose families were very harsh on them, very very
Yeah,
harsh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I mean, I'm a little envious because my parents literally would do my homework, and I wanted somebody
I
to
love your
challenge
parents.
me.
I love your parents. Change. Let's swap.
You would love my parents until you got bad grades on the papers they wrote for you.
And you're like, whose fault is this?
I I would have my dad would be like, "Oh, Emily, this is written all wrong. Let me take care of it for you," and then he'd go do it,
Oh,
and
they're lovely. Oh,
and then
they're
I'd take it into
lovely.
my teacher, and my teacher would be like, what in no, this is not structured properly." Oh,
Teachers can
Dad.
tell. Teachers can tell.
She's like, "This is very poorly written." Sorry. What's sad is my dad was an English teacher at the same school.
Oh,
A little
God.
unethical there. But I got through
Nice.
it. I got through it.
It's all about taking care of your cubs, making sure they push through somehow.
Man, I decided with my kids I was not going to make those same mistakes. I was like, all right, my kid's 3. She's old enough to put her own clothes on. She's going to brush her own teeth. She's going to clean her room.
Good.
And now my kid is 6, and she's like, I'm done cleaning my room. I'm like, I didn't expect to have a teenager this early, but I'm ready. Let's do this.
They grow so fast, this generation. It's just like blows your mind, but I guess that's
Yeah,
what it
she's
is.
so sensitive
Yeah.
too. She loves meditation. She loves doing all this stuff. But she has the attitude of a 16-year-old. I know this because one day she was talking to me, and I was on the phone with someone, and they were like, "What do you have, like a 16, 17-year-old?" I was like, "She's a 6-year-old." They're like, "Oh no." I was like,
Are you gonna edit this out or leave it in?
I have no idea. I know I'm gonna have to edit my hair now.
Leave it. It's raw, it's authentic, leave it.
I love my daughter. I love her ups and downs. I love her. She is a blessing, a blessing, a blessing, a blessing. I just wish the defiance would be toned down like 3 notches. Just 3.
I'm sure it's a phrase.
I'm hoping that when we hit our teens and when I'm expecting the like punch in the face of just hormones, that instead she's going to be super super grateful, like what a 20-year-old should be, just grateful and loving. And I'm gonna be like, man, this is so nice. And I'm hoping that she'll trust me and share this is I feel like these are empty wishes, but I'm gonna make them anyway. She's gonna share everything with me.
Oh, she will.
I hope so. She's right now breaking into our baby-proofed cupboards and breaking into lock boxes and eating everything at 5 in the morning when everyone's asleep. She's finding people's iPads and hiding them in her room. My kid is crafty. She is. I mean, if there's a spy agency out there that needs a tiny child who is very good at lying and sneaking around, and I've got the kid for you. Oh, but I love her.
It feels like she's very creative. There's a lot of creative energy in there.
There is. She's very bright. She pretends she's not. That's what's so funny, is to get me to do the work for her. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what word that is.
Were you like that?
I was a little bit. It's biting me in the butt now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, back on light language topics.
Let's come back.
Let's just reel it in here.
I do this to interviews. Sometimes none of my interview is aired, and I think it's just because we just got off topic totally.
It's okay. I'm gonna probably post the entire thing on YouTube, and what we'll do is I'll edit this one, and hopefully we'll have at least 40 minutes of like solid light language talk. You know, maybe we'll have a jam session here at the end. I don't know. We'll see.
We can do now if you want, if there's no other question.
Well, I do want to know like more about like your version of light language. Last week I did a history on what I could find on light language, right? And I kind of communicated with my guides a little bit. And it seems like there's about 5 different subgroups on what light language is and the origins. Like some people are like, I'm channeling an, past life version of myself. Other people are like, I'm channeling collectives of alien beings. Other people are like, I'm, I was a Lemurian or an Atlantean, and now I'm channeling this language from that culture. I noticed there's a lot of dialects, and my personal view is that we all speak this language in our heart, like this, like the language of the heart. And no matter what collective you're tapping into, no matter what lifetime you're tapping into, if you're trying to convey a certain emotion or bestow a power upon someone or share a memory or whatever, it has to be something kind of beyond the physical. I feel that is how we are doing that at this point in our evolution, is through this language. But that's just me shooting the S word around. What's your interpretation of this movement?
I'm not sure if I have the book near me, but I always love to share ancient wisdom. The book called The Hermetic, and it's written in the voice of Hermes. It's a very thin book, and there's a phrase that I always remember, that the true language of ancient Egypt is not just words. It holds magic, it holds power. And that is what light language is. That is what our heart language is. That is what our soul language is. And that is our capacity, the capacity of our voice. And it still exists. If you look into Icaros, which is the magic song or power song of Amazonian healers or shamans, their song blend with their tribal lingo as well as Spanish. The song said to be received and passed down from ancestors, as well as the plant directly to the shamans. And yeah, it sings in this human language. However, when you listen to it, it doesn't really matter what he or she is singing, but it's the rhythm and it's the tone. And these songs invoke the spirit of the plant medicine. This song brings up energy within the people who are receiving it. So it exists. It's always here. Sometimes we always look upon the stars. Sometimes we always look upon past or future life. But it's the seeds always been here. We just tapped into it now. And because light language is multi-dimensional, it acts as that remembrance of, okay, here's the Lion timeline, here's Lemurian timeline, here's Atlantis timeline. But it always exists on Earth to me.
That's beautiful.
Even my friend, he said that, his favorite light language is bird song. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a light language, because I mean, I've been speaking and communicating with birds since I was very young. I probably have like 30 different birds I can communicate with, and I just thought I was a freak, but I mean, I'll take light language over. it's one thing to be like walking around and be like, "Hi, bird." It's a whole nother thing to be like, "Ah, ah," or oh, is that a canary? Hold on a second. And then suddenly the bird like turns around and starts communicating back. It's kind of wild, but I didn't know that that was a light language, so that's beautiful. Beautiful. Makes me
Well,
feel
to me it is. To me,
so.
Icaros is. Yeah, to me,
Mm,
Icaros is. And I feel that even when shamans drum and they sing, it's all energy, isn't it? Mm.
it is. It is. And there's nothing like there's really nothing like falling into that flow when you let
Yeah.
go, when you kind of sit back in your own body and you just let it come through. There's nothing like that feeling when it's coming through. I don't know if you feel that way, but I know when I'm in the flow and I'm drumming or I'm doing my singing bowl and it's just coming through, oh, I just don't want to stop. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the same. You drift into the space where is you don't need words for it. There's no
Mm,
time. You're just in that zone.
absolutely.
You wanna do
I
it?
do. I do.
Okay.
I
So,
like to do it, do it.
so I invite you all just to find your space. And inhale deeply. Exhale. Really drop your presence, drop your shoulders, drop your focus through where you are into your space. Breathe to the top of your head. Exhale down and down into your tummy. Inhale, allow the tummy to expand. And bring the belly back to the spine as you exhale. Take a moment to feel where you're sitting and feel your energy. Set aside any worries and concern, any busyness of the mind. Focus on each breath and give yourself permission to receive. Breathe to the top of your crown. Exhale, let go deeper of any worries, any fears. Allow the energy to flow down through your spine, down into earth, for we are all conduits of energy. Nani Tia soa na kia ranata. Mana ayani ia soyo ariano. Tatua ia si ia nana. Kia sayana miana. Maruani kia sa ayano koayana. Natia sayano. You all are both ancient and new, multi-dimensional that you are. Remember, find power within you to redefine your relationships with reality. Redefine yourself, for you are the medicine. Matia sananiata. Tunano suyu. Just breathe. Deeply. And return into your body. And here we give thanks to Earth. Give thanks to Heart of the Sky. And give thanks to our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much for that offering. Oh man.
Vibey.
There were so many times I was like, I want to join in, but I'm not going to.
Oh, you can if
No.
internet's strong enough. I mean, next time.
Yes, next time, definitely. Well, I'll have to have you come back on as a reoccurring guest eventually.
Planting seeds.
I can try, right? Well, it has been a great honor of having you on this evening, and I hope all of you enjoyed tonight's segment. And you know, if you guys are interested in connecting with Nalini, am I saying your name correctly? Yes.
Very good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Nalini, you may reach her on her website, which is
So connections, Nalinee.com. You can find me on social media. Nalinee Diosara, and my YouTube, Remembering Love and Light Language, and that's the same name with Instagram.
She's everywhere. Literally, if you just type in Nalinee into Google, she will appear.
Hopefully, it's a very common name.
Well, over here, if I type it in, you come up. Maybe you're just super popular here in the U.S. or at my household. I'm not sure.
On your search engine. I think it's just on your search engine.
I said Google.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for joining, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.